This is the Roseselsa Earfree i5, or if you know them better as Rosetechnics, this is from the brand Rosetechnics. And I know them as Rosetechnics because I have reviewed some of their IEMs in the past, and they do make some terrific stuff. So I was surprised when they did send me this wireless set of earphones that they make. And the thing is, I've been sitting on this product for quite a while, a few months in fact, before I've gotten to it. But anyway, here I am finally. Thank you to the folk at Rosetechnics for making this review possible by sending me this demo unit. All thoughts and opinions are my own, of course, and I'll jump straight into the build of this. Well, it is a very neatly made little case. This does have a sort of aluminium finish. It's a beautifully finished case, as you can see, and you do get the brand logo over there, the Earphones brand name as well, which is the Earfree there. And what's really cool is at the bottom, you do get the USB type C charging port, and what's nice to see is a sync and reset button. A lot of companies are doing away with that. It's the most convenient thing to really, if you have any glitch with your earphones, is pop them into the case, press and hold this button, and you should do a reset. A factory reset usually sorts out all, if not most, problems, of course. So the case, full points over there. But when you move on to the earphones itself, this is something I'm not too happy with. I mean, yeah, they're nicely made, but the overall fit and finish, I think, could have been better, because I have seen earphones in in a more affordable price bracket that has this kind of finish. It does have sort of a very plastic-like look to it, of course. It does sit comfortably. Comfort-wise, it's great. The ear tips are good. It is comfortable to wear in the ear, of course. But yeah, the overall fit and finish of the earphones, I think, could have been a little bit better, a little bit more upmarket looking. But good news is you're not going to be looking at it most of the time. You are going to be listening to it. So now it comes with all the standard stuff in the box. You get an extra set of small and large ear tips. Mediums are already on the earphones, and you also get a charging cable as well, along with the literature. That's about it. Moving on to the features, well, this is fairly straightforward and to the point. You do get active noise cancelling, of course. You do get environmental noise cancelling for all your phone calls that you're going to make. If I'm not mistaken, this does come with Bluetooth version 5.3, which might not be the latest, but it is stable enough. I found version 5.0 onwards to be pretty stable. Only in very rare situations have I found a Bluetooth version 5.2 or a 5.3 acting glitchy, but this is pretty stable. I've been using this set of earphones quite casually over quite a while, and I've not had any glitches or hiccups with the connectivity. You also do get an app you can control the earphones with. It's called the Roselink app. You can go into the App Store or the Play Store to get this app in particular. So once you do connect your earphones to this, what's cool is you will see the earphones batteries and the case's battery as well. Now the first option you have is the noise control panel, and what's cool is I think this they've activated in the latest software. I've just upgraded this firmware maybe a day ago or 2 days ago, and when you are in the ANC mode, you do get these 3 levels you can play around with: deep noise reduction, moderate noise reduction, and light noise reduction. So for those of you who are a little too sensitive to aggressive ANC, don't use the deep noise, because you might feel a little pressure in the ear. I'm used to this, so I don't feel that. Then what's cool is you can switch on over to the wind noise cancelling mode. So that's, if you're in an open, very windy environment, you can try this out. Normal switches off the ANC, so it goes on to a passive mode. So the earphones and the ear tips are keeping whatever noise out passively. Then, of course, you do have a transparent mode. So the transparent mode also, this is something new they've added after the update, is you do have your standard transparency, voice transparency, and comfort transparency. You can find whatever suits you best, of course, and switch on over to that. Then you also do get EQ options, which is cool. Now these are preset EQs. There is no manual EQ, sadly. You can toggle between pop, hi-fi, and rock, of course. I do like the hi-fi option, but what I found is these 3 have very slight modulations in difference when you listen to these 3. I find myself liking hi-fi the most, of course. I'll talk about the sound in detail in a second, but when you go over to light, it suddenly loses a lot of body. It gets a lot thinner in its overall presentation, and I think a lot of people will prefer light if you listen to audiobooks and other things like that. The other 3 profiles might be a little too emphasized in the lower frequencies to carry on over voice for podcasts or audiobooks and so on, but I just find myself liking the hi-fi profile. Moving right on, you can use the game mode. Of course, switching it on will reduce the latency. Now, I have used this to absorb some content, and I mean, it's okay. You're using a wireless set of earphones. It's bound to be a little bit slow or a little bit sluggish. It's not going to be absolutely quick like using a cable. But switching on the game mode does increase the speed. Offhand, I forget how much faster it is. It might be 54 milliseconds. I'll throw it up here wherever I can. I'll find the exact info that Rosetechnics has mentioned and throw up its response time here. Then, of course, you have dual device connectivity, which works well. You can connect your phone or your laptop and your tablet and your phone. So if you do get a phone call on your phone, it latches over immediately. So that's a plus point with Bluetooth version 5.3, of course. Then you do have the lossless audio codecs you can use, which is the LDAC, and then you can use the compressed stuff, which is AAC and SBC. So, I mean, if you have access to high bitrate stuff, if you're streaming Apple Music or if you've got FLAC files, use LDAC. Otherwise, if you want to conserve battery, use SBC and AAC, of course. And then it's cool, it's got Find My Device, so you can really look out for these things. Your earbuds, if you lose them. Then what's cool about the touch stuff is you can customize this. A lot of brands don't let you customize. So these are the normal functions you have. But I was upset initially when I said, hey, there's no volume control, man. It's nice to have that. It's a set of earphones, it should have it. But what's cool is you can go into it and customize any of these. You can put lower volume, increase volume, and so on per earphone. So it's nice that you can customize it to that extent for volume. I really do like earphones that include that. And then you do have in-ear detection that you can switch on and off notification levels and all these other different control modes. And the voice language is, I mean, whatever you want it to be. And of course, you've got the firmware upgrade version, which is what I've done very recently. And then moving right on to the active noise cancelling. Well, to be very honest with you, when it comes to its marketing, they do say that they cut out a lot, maybe 49 dB worth of noise, and they've got a 1000 hertz spectrum of noise cancelling. I have heard other earphones that have these same numbers, and they do tend to cut out a little bit more noise in this. Like there's a lot of certain frequencies that bleed in with this that don't with other products. So this one's ANC isn't its strongest sort of step in the direction of trying to be a mass market product, but it does a good job. It's not overly aggressive, at least to me, where it starts causing a sense of pressure. There are some earphones that do that for me, but these haven't done that. So it's pretty easy on the ear, and you've got those modulation levels you can, of course, play around with. Now, this does have, I think, 4 microphones for handling the active noise cancelling. So they are bound to, do whatever it is they have to do to isolate droning noises. ANC looks for droning noises. Please don't expect this to cut out that noisy worker talking right next to you or somebody walking with loud shoes. It's mostly going to focus in on droning noises. That's what ANC is. That's what it looks for. Now, these same microphones that are being used for active noise cancelling are also used for environmental noise cancelling. So it will try and suppress the noise around you. So when you're talking to your recipient, they'll be able to hear your voice better because it's supposed to enhance your voice being carried over to them. So if you do want to know how your voice will sound in a very busy setting, there really is only one way to show you how. So I'm calling you from the usual busy street. I do all of my call tests from a bunch of trucks with pressure horns, cars, bikes, you name it. There's a lot of noise here. And of course there's some construction work going on behind as well. That is of course never ending. So these earphones do have a lot to battle with when it comes to their environmental noise cancelling. I have to say that active noise cancelling is pretty good considering I'm so close. I must be about 8 feet away from this road, and these horns and droning noises from engines or road noise from tires isn't too bothersome. I can go out and of course go for a walk or a run with the active noise cancelling on. So I have been on the camera microphone to give you a sense of how much these earphones are going to be battling, of course. And I will be switching over to the Rosetechnics earphones right about now. So this is pretty much the overall vocal tonality you can expect to carry on over to your recipient. No doubt, this is in the worst kind of setting, of course. If you are in an office space or at home in a more controlled environment, it will have less sort of cancelling to do of the noise around you, which is pretty good. So anyway, what I do want to show you is what I normally do in these tests is cycle through the active noise cancelling modes just to see if there is an added strain on the algorithm or the microphones when I'm shifting through those modes. So I am right now on the ANC mode, which you've been hearing all this time.
And it does have different levels of ANC, of course, like deep noise reduction, moderate noise, and light noise reduction. So this is, of course, the most advanced that I'm in. I will shift over right now to the wind mode. So she says wind noise cancellation, and I can hear a lot of the mid frequencies bleeding in right now from the environment around me. Now you'd be the best judge to see if you've heard any difference over there. And I'll switch on over to normal. So she's saying noise cancelling off, which means now it's in passive mode. Only the ear tips are isolating the noise that's coming in. So this is, I mean, it feels more natural than with having active noise cancelling on. Uh, and I'll also go to transparency mode. So transparency mode is letting in some of the noise. Now I don't want to shift over to something that's a lot more transparent, because if someone blows their horn, my ears are going to get shot. But let's see, voice transparency will let in slightly more mid-range, of course, if you're talking to somebody, and comfort transparency also does shift things a little around a little bit. But what I want to do is shift back to active noise cancelling in case somebody blows their horn. And yeah, there is a considerable drop in the overall ambience around me. So this is definitely the way I'd want to be in a very busy setting. But of course, you'd be the best judge to see if there was a shift between anything, to see if there was actually a strain, because sometimes there is a strain because the mics or the algorithm are doing more work, because it's not just handling its active noise cancelling, it's also handling its environmental noise cancelling for your recipient as well. So just a quick demo to give you a better understanding for these earphones, and I do hope that it has given you that better understanding. And of course, I will see that this review.
Battery life wise, well, I've not used it long enough to really know that it's going to fail in so much time and so on. But I'm pretty sure they're going to stick to the original numbers they've mentioned on their webpage. Of course, now I think I've used this upwards of 2 hours without a problem, and I've never had a low battery indication or any such thing. If you are a power user where you're using it for 8 straight hours or 6 straight hours, I think it can do about 8 hours in one straight charge on the earphones alone, which is pretty good. But yeah, I mean, expect battery degradation over some time. So usually 6 to 8 months into owning a product and using it regularly and charging it frequently is bound to degrade these tiny little cells in the earphones. Chances are those cells will go before the cell in the case, of course. So that's something to keep in mind when you buy anything wireless, which is why I think a lot of people still prefer the wired method, because that's one less thing to worry about. Anyway, moving on to the sound. Well, this does support the SBC and AAC codec, and I must say that I've heard a lot of wireless earphones that are mass market that are claiming to be high res. I mean, it's very easy to get that high res stamp or access to the LDAC codec, but usually more often than not, just because you have the LDAC codec that is supported doesn't mean your driver can support that much of a data output, or should I say in an analog form. Can it really give you that much resolution? Usually not. But with this set of earphones, I was very pleasantly surprised. It definitely sounds like it's got some very good hardware. So speaking about the sound, volume wise, I find this to be surprisingly very well rounded sounding, even as low as 10% volume. It's not, like a lot of other earphones that, you have to crank way up to listen to the lower frequencies, where the lower frequencies just don't exist on a lot of earphones at lower volumes. This one maintains a terrific rounded presentation. So if you are winding down at the end of the day and you want to hear softer music, this is a great set of earphones to go for. This also, on the other hand, does go up to, well, I mean, you can crank it up to 100%, but I wouldn't recommend it. I found myself sitting at about 30 to 45% volume and really enjoying it there. It sounds full, it sounds rounded, it sounds enthusiastic. 45% onwards, 50%, it starts getting a little too loud for me. So I wouldn't recommend you listen to these beyond 50% volume over prolonged periods of time if you intend on preserving your hearing, of course. Moving on to its imaging. Well, I think imaging wise, it's not a wired set of IEMs. It's still wireless. It's bound to have its bottlenecks. But for a set of wireless earphones, when broadcasting, or should I say receiving LDAC through a high-res source, its imaging is pretty good. It's got a pretty good layering in it. You are able to identify various nuances in your music, of course, provided you are listening to a good high-res source or a good recording. Imaging, I've got no issues here. It's a good fun to listen to. Soundstage-wise, it is a lot like other wireless earphones. But I think there's a little bit more of an expanse than I've heard with some products in a similar price range, at least over here in India. And this does seem to have a slightly more expanse, slightly more height over the earphones. So maybe somewhere here I am hearing a few things, and I'm hearing things slightly out of the earphones as well. Not everything is sort of held in a bubble within my head. It does expand slightly out of that. So soundstage wise, it's great. Highs, mids and lows. This certainly has some form of a Harman curve to it. There's definitely some sort of a, they've looked at that. They want to, of course, appeal to, what people like to listen to. But at the same time, its lower frequencies do not get belligerent where it's overpowering and it's going to eat into all the mids and upper detail. It's beautifully balanced, in other words. They have managed to find a good balance between everything. The mids are also kind of slightly recessed, but not recessed to the extent where you hear female vocals and male vocals sounding nasal. They still do sound rounded and full enough. And at the same time, thanks to how well these image as well, this section has very good layering, like I did mention. So the separation between your instruments, your vocals, your percussive instruments in the higher range, all of these are very well segregated when you listen to your music. Is this hi-fi levels of quality? Well, compared to the other Rosetechnics earphones that IEMs that I've tested in the past, definitely not. But for a wireless set of earphones, it's definitely quite good. So overall, it's definitely tuned very well. It's a great fun listen. Especially if you're going for a walk or a run, or if you just want to listen to something casually and you don't want to listen to your, your high-end setup where you're tethered to your desk or to a portable player where you don't want a cable. I think this makes a lot of sense. And one thing I do want to mention, from day one, since I started listening to this, the one thing I did notice with this that was very evident, a lot of earphones, in fact, this made it very evident, a lot of wireless earphones that you hear. Now, if you are somebody who's been listening to a lot of speakers and high-end amplifiers, the minute you are paired, or should I say sit in front of good speakers that are being powered by a substandard amp or a not powerful enough amp, you'll be like, hey man, these speakers don't sound right. Is your amp powerful enough? That's usually how I feel with most earphones. They just don't have the amping power. This one sounds like it's got a very good amp chip in it, because at no point does it feel like it's lacking in energy or power. It just wants to get out there and give you, your music in the way that it's supposed to be delivered to you. So this is in no way a slouch. It's very confident in its overall delivery and its overall posture. Sound-wise, I'd say a very, very enjoyable compared to a lot of other wireless earphones that I have heard. So would I recommend these earphones? I'd say absolutely yes. That's a big hell yes from me, because I wasn't expecting it to sound as good as it did, because first impressions, when you look at the case, it looks awesome. Then when you open it up and look at the earphones, the fit and finish didn't look really top notch to me. So I was a bit iffy about it. I said, maybe they're just trying something. It's just like time pass kind of product they've made, but their efforts are very evidently have gone towards how this sounds. They've definitely spent a lot of time and energy on making sure that this sounds as nice and as fun as it does. It's definitely a very good sounding, fun sounding set of earphones. So if you do want to pick these up, of course, I will leave the details down below. But coming to the price, well, you can pick this up from the Rosetechnics website, of course, and if I know anywhere else where it is available, I'll try and leave all those links down in the description for you. But what I am looking at right now is, at the time of recording this, is it does go for $72.99, but right now it's going for about $62.99, and that is for the version with NC, noise cancelling, and there is a version without noise cancelling that goes for $60. That's about $59.99. So you can choose whatever one you want. And also at the same time, you can choose a series of colors. So go on ahead through the description link and see whichever one you like, of course. And choose whichever one suits your personality. So there you have it. That's my quick review on Rosetechnics wireless earphones, which I never thought they even made. But I do hope that this video has given you a better understanding of these earphones, and I do hope that I've helped you make some sort of purchase decision. If you would like to help support the channel, I'm sure you know exactly how to. But of course, thank you for tuning in for some sound advice.